don't worry, they will come back. Good afternoon and welcome to the Spring 2018 commencement for the Tulane University School of Public Health and Tropical Medicine. Please rise, if you are not standing already. Please rise or stay standing as Tulane's a cappella group Green Envy leads us in singing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
You may be seated, all of you. And thank you, Green Envy. This was fabulous. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the School of Public Health and Tropical Medicine, it's my pleasure to welcome the graduates and their families to this ceremony. Today, we welcome new graduates to the Legion of Tulane Public Health alumni who have come before them. And why so many alumni before you? It's because, as you know, we were founded in 1912, and we have a very vibrant group of alumni, and you will be part of them now. I want to give particular thanks and recognition to the families and friends of the graduates for their support. Without you, many of these graduates would not be here today, and I know that's true. I would also like to thank my wife, Alejandra, who is there, has been there for many graduations. Without you, I will not be here today either, I think. So let's give the families and friends and Alejandra a round of applause. I also would like to recognize a special friend from before Katrina, right, and from during Katrina, Dean James McLaren, whose daughter Emily completes her undergraduate public health degree today. Congratulations, James, and of course, congratulations, Emily. James, please rise. Finally, I'd like to welcome another friend, Dr. Cornelis Wilco Zijmans from Anton de Kom University in Paramaribo, Suriname. Dr. Zijmans is an adjunct professor with the Department of Global Environmental Health Sciences, and we are happy he could be with us today. Dr. Zijmans, please rise and be recognized. So this year is special. We are fortunate to have really a very special guest with us, Dr. Paul Farmer, who received a honorary degree from Tulane this morning, but this is not your first degree. You graduated from Duke and Harvard. You are faculty at Harvard Medical School, and you are really a hero of public health. You have been a tireless advocate for global health and for social justice. The organization you co-founded, Partners in Health, provides health care to those in need around the world. So it's really an honor for us to have Paul Farmer as our speaker today. Paul.
Thank you. Thank you. Pray for me that I will be able to see these pages, which are few in number. I did just leave my glasses in the Super Dome. So I'd like to thank Carrie, who found them. So let me start again. Hello, dear graduates in public health and tropical medicine. You're supposed to, usually... So whether previously classed as undergrads or grad students, you're all graduates now. And are you separated, like undergraduates in the back? Yes? Hey, undergraduates. You know, when I started even medical school or graduate school, there really weren't undergraduate programs, and you're the first wave of the legion that's going to make a big difference. So congratulations to all of you who chose so early. So just a heads up, your dean has done his job. And I'm not talking about the last 15 years, I'm talking about a month ago, he called me, insisted in fact that he connect. And I would say, well, I'm in Liberia, I'm in Mumbai. No, he had to chase me down, and I suspect it was to give me the message, which he did, that my talk should be short. This is New Orleans, he said. The graduates want to party. Now, does Pierre look like a party animal to you? More France than Flanders? Thank you. I need that. He has way too many degrees after his name to know much about New Orleans and its ways. And now you've all added one to your resumes, which is why I'm here. Although I must add with some pride that I got my Tulane degree today also. Yeah, finally, I was planning to attend Tulane when I was 23 years old, when I wanted to come here to med school and do public health. And that was the first year I went to Haiti. And you know, sometimes when I tell people I really hate hot weather, I grew up in Florida. I hate it. People say, well, why'd you go into tropical medicine? Well, the answer is not for the weather. But Haiti is what got me started on both tropical medicine and public health. Back then in Haiti, the ranking fads in most schools of public health and tropical medicine did not include much discussion of social justice. But as many of these schools became increasingly balkanized, Tulane managed to insist on building bridges between disciplines, between methodologies, between town and gown, and between nations, across divides. Tulane was and is the place to be for my particular mix of interests. Now, the only reason I applied to the Tulane of the Northeast I later tried also to convince my daughter to come here, and I'm very grateful to Ken Schwartz, who I assume is not here, but he nominated me for this degree some years ago. And he's the dean of the architecture student school, and I tried to go that route too. Well, maybe if I didn't end up here, I could at least get a foot in the door with a child, you know, be able to stay in the French Quarter, listen to the great music. Man, I really love New Orleans. 35 years it's taken me to get this damn degree. Anyway, the reason I went to the Tulane of the Northeast was because of another interest in medical anthropology. Yeah, there's some whoopers out there in medical anthropology. Try going to an American Association of Anthropology meetings. Try going to those. They're really scary, all those. Anyway, I'd never heard of Ebola, and HIV had just been identified, but I knew even then that I wanted to be a physician anthropologist. The leading figure in that field, by my estimation, had trained at Harvard and was headed back there. I was shocked and, of course, delighted to be admitted and started medical school, get ready for this, in 1984. I know, you're thinking, I wasn't even dreaming of being born then. You're thinking, my parents weren't born then. You're not thinking that, are you? That's right around the corner. Anyway, 1984. Medicine is becoming, in Lewis Thomas's term, the youngest science. But Haiti was on my mind. So was my father, who died suddenly just before I started medical school. He was playing basketball with one of my brothers, and his death at 49 led us to wonder what difference ready access to primary care might have made. It wasn't the first time, of course, I asked myself that question. A year in rural Haiti left no doubt that serving as a physician in a medical desert would save lives as long as one had access to the tools of the trade. Whether one considers preventives, like vaccines, or diagnostics or therapeutics, these tools were coming from basic science. And that's another reason balkanization in too many silos is bad for public health. It's not prevention versus care. It's not basic science versus social science. Public health needs to turn away from those false dichotomies and keep focused on the equity agenda. I knew back then that I'd had a personal glimpse of what it meant to live in places where the fruits of discovery science were absent or unevenly shared. That meant in 1984, as now, not only Haiti, but also parts of this country. As we were later reminded by Katrina, some of these clinical deserts aren't too far from research universities like Tulane. New Orleans, New York, Boston, Miami, San Francisco, pretty much all the bigger US cities were just then facing new problems, like AIDS. That's why TB's recrudescence in these cities was often shrugged off. It's just HIV, it's just AIDS. But a new set of federal policies, which were alas old and long-standing in some states, had been cobbled together in a war on drugs. A rapid spike in prison populations ensued, and those behind bars were soon mostly men of color. Since people are sent to prison as punishment, not for punishment, public health champions fought back against tuberculosis in American prisons. They knew they couldn't do that without integrating prevention and care. After all, the way to make someone with TB non-infectious was and is to diagnose promptly and treat effectively. Now, many commentaries, and this is where anthropology came in, many commentaries on high rates of disease and poor outcomes within US jails and prisons continued to focus on the alleged cultural, cognitive, and personal deficiencies of those sickened. But there was no curbing the epidemic without focusing on the real causative factors, which were largely structural and not, as Jesmyn Ward noted earlier today in her address, they were not just the result of a single bad choice. When prison-seated TB epidemics did stem from cultural and cognitive and personal deficiencies, they were those of the policymakers, not the prisoners. It was a radically different and somewhat similar problem in my new stomping grounds, Haiti, not Harvard. As a new epidemic fanned an old one, Haiti was often in the US news, where we read about superstitious and backwards people who rejected modern medical care. But none was then on offer. As we learned while watching young people waste away before us, dying of AIDS, but also of eminently treatable tuberculosis. Now, no one laboring in the clinical desert doubted the potential contribution of medicine and of caregiving in general. If there's a similar utility to a career in medical anthropology, it's to challenge confident claims of causality about why afflictions, all afflictions, cut some lives short while sparing others. This can't be done without careful exploration of social context, which isn't possible without rescuing, sorry, the glasses still aren't working. I got good glasses advice last night from Pierre. He said, get progressives. I said, I am a progressive. Without rescuing more than a bit of history from the dustbin. In the affluent world, and after the great leap forward of vaccines, the history of infectious disease has been one of steady improvement in clinical outcomes. This began even before the development of less toxic antibiotics in the mid-20th century and continues among the fortunate to this day. It's not that no infection is invariable. It's not that no infection. I need new glasses, okay? Did I say that? Some infections are still invariably fatal. Rabies and a couple of others almost always kill in time, whether one lives in affluence or in poverty. But drug resistance aside, the general trend has been the same. A mix of specific and non-specific therapies have moved most microbes from causing disease in humans from the often fatal rubric to the eminently survivable one. I've been fortunate to witness such reclassification several times over the past 3 decades. AIDS is the most obvious example. Many critically ill patients I first cared for in medical school as a medical student in the 80s are survivors today. Some of them are now colleagues or friends rather than merely patients, but all remember when a diagnosis of AIDS was a death sentence. Today, for many, those dark days are beyond imagining, and that's because of antiretroviral therapy developed in the mid-90s. These drugs, like so many others, came from substantial investments in basic discovery science. But during the decade before these treatments were shown to decrease mortality, which was clear by 1996, there were, in Boston and as in Haiti, huge disparities in the course of HIV disease among the afflicted. That decade was, of course, the one in which I trained clinically. We learned during those years that to be transformed from people dying with AIDS to people living with HIV required making it through the awful 80s and the early 90s. And that only happened to those with access to rapid diagnosis and treatment of the opportunistic infections associated with the slow but inevitable destruction of parts of the immune system targeted by HIV. Such treatment often called for critical care, which is delivered in ICUs, for example, and almost always required supportive care, which isn't hand-holding, but nursing care. This was the work of nurses, doctors, friends and family, and activists who resisted the notion that some people were too poor to treat, or otherwise just not worth it. They resisted, in other words, the idea that the fruits of science were not for everyone in need. If the AIDS pandemic had a height and then a decline, it's because scientists, activists, and policymakers reaching all the way to George W. Bush came together to launch initiatives like the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS relief. More than 14 million people are alive because of it. And who knows how many infections have been averted. In some parts of Africa where I've worked, including Rwanda, pediatric AIDS is being wiped out. This integration of prevention and care only happened tardily and partially in West Africa. Fast forward to the summer of 2014, which found me and several friends from Partners in Health in Sierra Leone. Several members of the Tulane faculty were there, and they taught me a lot, such as the following. Although Ebola is a very different and much more acute affliction than AIDS, knowledge of these general trends, that is, moving from the untreatable to the eminently survivable, knowledge of these general trends might have inspired a bit of reticence among the therapeutic nihilists who populate the ranks of some echelons of health policy. The naysayers have always included some policy and disease control experts focused on settings of poverty, sometimes far away, sometimes right next door. They did not, however, include people like my Tulane colleagues who push for an effective vaccine and better therapies. They did not include my friends from Partners in Health. They certainly didn't include my classmate, Dr. Adora Okoli. She is a little bit younger than I am, if I'm not mistaken. She's here with her family today. She's graduating from a master's program in infectious disease epidemiology. And she shouldn't be embarrassed that we ask her to take a little stand for a round of applause. As your dean would say, now you can sit down. So, Dr. Okoli, what are we applauding? Oh, her courage, that's for sure. When Dr. Okoli fell ill caring for a Liberian man sick with Ebola, which is a caregiver's disease, I happened to be headed to Liberia. She knew, we knew, that changing the fates of the Ebola infected, moving them from the nihilistic category of untreatable to the aspirational and more honest one of treatable, was impossible without improving the quality of supportive and critical care. That's what she was doing in Lagos. But did Dr. Okoli receive enough of it herself? Not really, unless you meant her own self-care. She survived by chugging down the equivalent of Pedialyte, liter after liter. And that's hard to do when you're vomiting. When disease control efforts are untethered from clinical care, people flee it. That's what happened across Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. None of the Americans who fell ill in the course of the Ebola response died, and trust me, I know a number of them. And neither did many Europeans, but most of our West African colleagues with the same diagnosis, caused by the same strain, most of them died. They had the misfortune to be nursing and doctoring while black and in the clinical desert. That brings me to my only major point. He's really nodding happy. He's like, here comes the dismount. Paul did it. This brings me to my only major point beyond city envy. I mean, I so wish I lived here. That's the thing about tenure, though, you know. Public health practitioners can't continue to balkanize ourselves into our own, along the lines of our own interests. I happen to be a clinician, but that's surely not the only reason to note that. Even with the world's fearful attention trained on Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, mortality among the infected there remained appalling to the very end. With substantial local exceptions, the case fatality rate at the close of the epidemic hadn't gone down at all, in spite of improved surveillance and reporting. But it's not for surveillance and reporting that people show up in a clinic. They show up for care, not to be counted, sprayed, counseled, etc. And we would do well to take note of that. Not everyone is going to be a young and courageous physician who shows up for work, takes care of others, and then is obliged to take care of herself. As short-term clinical staff and humanitarians, and this is really my last paragraph, As short-term clinical staff and humanitarians, how am I going to bring this together and make it relevant to every public health graduate here? Oh, I will. As short-term clinical staff and humanitarians head off to the next crisis, as most have at the time of this ceremony, the region is as medically bereft as ever. It's more so if one takes note of the loss of a substantial fraction of its medical professionals, including 211 Sierra Leonean nurses, doctors, lab techs, and aides, some of whom worked with Tulane. So here's my extrapolatable general message. Let's study the social determinants of disease, but never turn our backs on the critically ill or injured. You didn't see that was where I was going? Dr. Okoli did, which is why she's taken this degree and why she's next helping fellow Ebola survivors. And I believe Tulane trainees and faculties all get this. So thank you for letting me say it just for you. And now, let us adjourn to the streets of the French Quarter to be pelted by shiny beads. Congratulations, class of 2018.
Thank you, Paul, for a really inspiring speech. And Tulane is special in many ways, but one thing which I really like about the university is that public health and medicine do work together all the time in a very close fashion, because those are our roots. We have common roots, right, to fight tropical disease and to go beyond that. So this was right on. And thank you, Adaora, for your resiliency, your courage, for what you're doing now and what you will be continuing to do, for having chosen to come to Tulane. And thank you for having made the School of Public Health and Tropical Medicine the central point of the President's speech this morning. This was very nice. Thank you. I would now like to invite this year's graduate student speaker, Nuha Nugvi, to the stage to deliver the student address.
It's hard to follow Paul Farmer, so. On behalf of the class of 2018, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Dean Bukins, faculty, and alumni. It is an honor and a privilege to speak before you today. Like most of the people in this room, my career in public health has not been a linear one. My interests have gone from medical school, like half of us, to health education, to health advocacy on Capitol Hill. My path to public health was, in some ways, set without my knowledge or choice, being born into a family that emigrated from India. During my frequent trips back to visit family, I've had a front row seat to the impact of poverty and lack of sanitation in the urban slums in Mumbai. Over the last 2 decades, I've observed the ebb and flow of generational poverty that lives at the fence of the elite. More recently, I've observed the hunger strikes and silent protests demanding legal action against those who've committed rape. I've met young mothers who were never taught family planning or given the opportunity to be educated. While there earlier this month, I met a young woman who delivered a premature baby boy last August. She'd contracted dengue fever while she was pregnant, and the baby passed away 8 days after birth. With the right access to health resources and prenatal care, this may have gone a different way. She's now pregnant again, expecting to deliver this summer just 1 year later, and is hoping for no complications. As defined by the WHO, health is not merely the absence of disease. In fact, it is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. The enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of health is one of the fundamental rights of every human being, without distinction of race, religion, political belief, or economic or social condition. My experiences in India have broadened this definition of public health for me. observing both basic human rights and social equality as forms of health-related social justice, and therefore on the docket for public health reform. Graduates, as we go out into the world, into this field of public health, a field that is often undersung and regularly underfunded, we will be confronted by those that disagree with this sentiment, with inequalities, disparities, and discrimination in society, conditions that deprive individuals of their fundamental right to health. In this room, I see interests that range from tropical to temperate, from developing to disenfranchised, from developing to industrialized, from disenfranchised to privileged. Yet we all have firsthand knowledge, whether it be in the classroom, through community work, or through research, of the barriers to health presented by globalization, politics, culture, and inequality. All people are entitled to a decent way of life. Our most basic common link, if nothing else, is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air, and we are all mortal. Each child saved, each refugee housed, each disease prevented brings us one step closer to dignity. As Robert Kennedy once said, each time a person stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he or she sets forth a tiny ripple of hope. Uncrossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, these ripples build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. Class of 2018, the world awaits our science, our ethics, our ideas, and most importantly, our humanity. It is a world that desperately needs the mighty ripples of our commitment to make it better. Let us work together, not just across our disciplines, but by transcending them to create this current. Let us engage our urban, rural, local, national, and international communities. Let us disturb the universe. Let us question everything and stand up for every question. Let us be revolutionary in our innovation to fight to improve public health. With this degree, we have not just the ability, but also the responsibility to help thousands in this world, most of whom we will never know personally. We have the power to hold people accountable against inaction and apathy by advocating for the invisible, the voiceless, the forgotten, by designing evidence-based and community-informed social programs. We have the chance to do what very few people want to do, let alone can do in this world. Empower thousands of complete strangers to live healthy and fulfilling lives, to achieve their dreams and become the best versions of themselves, to live with dignity, to provide for their parents, to raise families, and to nurture new generations in their own communities. A year from now, you may find yourself working to prevent rape and supporting victims of domestic violence in India, managing a TB clinic in the Philippines, providing humanitarian aid in Bangladesh, educating youth in Chicago, or providing nutritional support right here to priority populations in New Orleans. There will be mountains to climb, deserts to trek, and oceans to cross. But I urge you to never lose your drive and your passion to fight for those that cannot. As a professor once told me, a fiddle in the right hands can shake the sky. Thank you and congratulations to the class of 2018.
Thank you, Nura. This was really inspiring. And now, do you want to get your diplomas? Yes? Okay, then let's go for the main event. As I said earlier, we're celebrating the graduation of both our graduate and undergraduate programs. The degree for both were conferred earlier today by Tulane President Michael Fitz at the Unified Commencement Ceremony in the Superdome. We will begin with recognition of the graduate students. As the master's and doctoral students approach the stage, Dr. T.J. Stranova, Associate Dean for Student Affairs and Admissions, will introduce each graduate. Those awarded doctoral degrees will be hooted by the chair of their doctoral committee, and they are on the stage. That's the reason some faculty are on the stage and some are over there. So there is no other reason than that. The ones hooting are here. Dr. Stranova will introduce the chair of the committee by name. So let's the party begin.
All right, y'all ready? I have the great honor to call up the candidates for Master of Public Health degree. Please rise and come forward to receive your diploma. Oluwatimileyin Folashade Adeyemo. Elizabeth Winslow Aldridge. Hannah Grace Allen. Madeline Elise Allman. Karen Marcy Altman. Garrett Potter Atkins. Alyssa Marie Bardosevich. Billy Ross Bass II. Emma Crawford Beal. Farahat Bello. Michael David Bigler. Joel Imbonga Biengo. Jessica Derrickson Brewer. Lawrence Carlos Britton. Simone Brown. Jennifer Rachelle Sadie. Hannah Elise Chayet. Ying Chen. Emily Danielle Cohen. Diamond Crumby. Kyera Maria Cruz. Evangeline Grace D. Michelle. Marielle Bremner Dronson. Daniel David Durand. Artem Elmian. Bijachong Wakongo Horitia. Courtney Paige Foster. Gina George. Shayna Eleanor Goldfine. Allison Goldsmith. Catherine Graham. Charlie Jane Grenade. Sydney Caitlin Green. Jonathan Ricardo Guzman. Johanna Sierra Hakim. Catherine Glenora Hall. Ariel Renee Hartz. Rumana Hassan. Samantha Lynn Hahn. Sonia Shorty Hill. Kisi Marie Alana Hozak. Emma Catherine Hunter. Sarah Iguodala. John Marie Paul Caduno. Emily Cecile Kaplan. Sajan Kuwala. Ellie Kreiner. Jennifer Khan Lee. Siman Lee. Yahweh Lee. Chelsea Ruth Lindeman. Jingshuan Lu. Emmanuel Lucas. Claire Marie McCarthy. Melanie McClellan. Amy Averett Murcheka. Madison Monahan. Stephanie Faith Most. Abigail Louise Moen. Iman Alima Naim. Elena Nicole Newman. Carly Ing. Ikenya Kezito Damwane. Angel Jasenia Norwood. Adora Chineye Okuli. Daniel Robert Ortbals. Doricelis Eileen Pagan Pena. Jillian M. Paste. Robert Joseph Palestina. Bridget Perriman. Samantha Polis. Ahalia Prakash. Allison Elaine Palmer. Anjeli Prazertong. Kayla Aretha Rochelle. Charlie Sutton Reed. Hannah Elaine Nicole Reisner. Shanice Kailia Roach. David Julius Roston. Lily Reuben Miller. Zachary Salinger. Grace O'Neill Saul. Alexis Taylor Sharada. Aaron Hennessy Shafter. Ishui Shao. Caitlin Claire Simpson. Diana Singh. Hannah Gabrielle Sladek. Malia Claire Steele. Jordan Anita Elizabeth Stevens Mosley. Courtney Ann Werpy Story. Christine Lauren Sullivan. Hannah Lee Sullivan. Tessa Rochelle Sullivan. Megan Lynn Summers. Huen Sun. Lucy Eleanor Sutter. Jamie Marie Simmons. Lily Ann Van Bilson. Marcus Allen Vizzuti. Marissa Rose Vodola. Tuan Hong Vong. Linda Wong. Imani Michelle White. Hong Kwa Wu. Jia Ying Shu. Chao Chu Shui. Catherine Elizabeth Yo. Alinda Mildred Young. He Zhou. Now, will the graduates for the degree of Master of Science please rise and come forward to receive your diploma? Yulong Bai. Kai Chen. Yoon Gong. Rose Cicely Guet. Fong Yu Lee. Ja Lee. Yushi Mon. Shinan Mi. Yushao Wu. Chengguan Zhong. Yuzhou Zhong. Mingchen Zhao. Now, will the graduates for the degree of Master of Science in Public Health please rise and come forward to receive your diploma? Chelsea Dorian Baranco. Samantha Marie Carmen. Jessica Rose Conrad. Matthew Reinick Dunn. Early Jiang. Jennifer Murphy Kopp. Sue Frances Clear Litchfield. Catherine Lee McKeon. Mallory Lane Mucci. Jessica Rose Oswald. Nina Patel. Rachel Alicia Schneider. Catherine Dale Magoon. Timothy Andrew Shellhammer. Rachel Okpenny Weingartner. Shao Zhong. Wan Wei Cho. Will the graduates for the degree of Master of Public Health and Tropical Medicine please rise and come forward to receive your diploma? Barbara Asare Afriye. Michael Cesare Bates. Hans Govin Desale. Emily Jane Engel. Madison Alexandra Feshuk. Alice Harmon. Amanda Harriet. Joanne Jose. Hee-Jung Ko. Bria Amina Lane. Remy Louise Landry. Taylor Nicole Laskowski. Nuha Sultana Nakvi. Nicole Brittany Roberts. Caroline Thomas Weldon. Will the graduates for the degree of Master of Health Administration please rise and come forward to receive your diploma? Nicole Haber Agron. William Joseph Andrews IV. Adam Collins. Reed Primo Dufour. Jennifer M. Egan. Hannah Anise Fashel. Alexis Olivia Hamilton. William Charles Hammock. Trey Philip Royal Holmes. Jeremy Harper Johnson. Shamaha Noel. Cheyenne Courtney Ralston. Akansha Singh. Carl James Vadreen. Sarah Lindsay Welton. Marissa Kelsey Wigner. Catherine Elizabeth Woodward. Will the graduates for the degree of Doctor of Science please rise and come forward to receive your diplomas and hood? Gwen Catherine Biggerstaff will be hooded by Dr. Lejing Shi. Matthew Sherman Biggerstaff will be hooded by Dr. Charles Stecker. Juana Johnson Green will also be hooded by Dr. Charles Stecker. Will the graduate for the degree of Doctor of Public Health please rise and come forward to receive your diploma and hood? Allison J. Town, I get to hood you with the great honor. Please follow me. Will the graduates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy please rise and come forward to receive your diploma and hood? Faraz Zulfikar Wahib Abdul Wahid will be hooded by Dr. Maureen Lechfeld. Alyssa Renee Billfield will be hooded by Dr. Diego Rose. Marissa Dawn Fahlberg will be hooded by Dr. Elizabeth Didier. Margaret Ann Farrell will be hooded by Dr. Jane Bertrand. Julia Mellencamp Fleckman will be hooded by Dr. Kathy Taylor. Caitlin Brianna Gam will be hooded by Dr. Maureen Lechfeld. Stephen A. Murphy will also be hooded by Dr. Maureen Lechfeld. Catherine Nation will be hooded by Dr. Juan Pizarro. Sophia Kerdumi Penley will be hooded by Dr. Nancy Mock. Benjamin Pollock will be hooded by Dr. Jong He. Clarabelle Murillo Solano will be hooded by Dr. Juan Pizarro. Trevor Abram Thompson will be hooded by Dr. Donald Krogstad. Stacy Lynn Wallach will be hooded by Dr. Mai Do. Chao Shu will be hooded by Dr. John LaFonte. Mengshi Zheng will be hooded by Dr. Mark Van Landingham. Congratulations to all master's and doctoral students here at the School of Public Health and Tropical Medicine. Great job.
Well, congratulations to the successful master's and doctoral students on their achievement. This was really impressive. So if you don't mind, I think we need a little break from the serious business of conferring degrees. And at the start of the ceremony, the pinstripe brass band, second line of faculty and graduating students in the auditorium. And now I would like to have them back for a parade throughout the auditorium. So please, supposedly when I say pinstripe, they should come in. So I think they are there. So let's go for another parade through the auditorium. They are there. All right, let's get back to our seats. We'll now proceed with the second part of this event, which is as important as the first part. So please be seated. All right. I now would like to welcome our second student speaker, Hannah Novak, to the stage to share the undergraduate public health student commencement address. And please be seated now, because this will be an interesting address. Hannah?
See, this is cool because now I can see the undergrads. Okay. Every time that I've told another Tulane student that my major was public health, they ask me if I was pre-med or what my other majors are. Most of you do have additional focuses, largely due to the fact that public health touches every aspect of human existence. It makes sense to position yourself at the nexus of public health as it relates to another field, such as economics, international development, biochemical sciences, or the liberal arts. This makes it incredibly surprising to those outside of public health, then, when my answer is that there is no other major, or minor, or pre-professional track. Somehow along the way, people got the misconception that public health work is easy, or that we need other coursework to validate our degrees. What they don't understand is that Tulane is a perfect microcosm for public health work. The challenges students face at this university are just as difficult as those we seek to solve as public health professionals. In many cases, students go on from their undergraduate public health work and translate what they've learned directly to their careers. As students, we are positioned perfectly to understand the importance of community-centered interventions. We have been the community members experiencing the hurt, loss, fear, and frustration, and we have also shouldered the responsibility of developing interventions and programs. When we ensure that these are informed by our own needs, desires, and identities, we internalize what it means to incorporate that into our future work. Tulane has no shortage of opportunity to be a part of community-informed approaches, and public health students have risen to the occasion every time. We have expended countless hours conducting research, educating our peers, and working to create multi-level changes that will far outlast our time on campus and in New Orleans. Public health is a rare field where doing the work that you love involves actively seeking out the things that you don't. We exist in a place of constant discomfort, trying to more deeply understand and ameliorate the root causes of health disparities with the few resources we are allotted. We don't just implement programs that have been developed for other communities. We immerse ourselves in the needs and experiences of those that we wish to serve to create and evaluate new structures that will go beyond goals previously attained. At my first internship experience, public health was described to me as having your goal be to work yourself out of a job. What was not included in that description was just how much of yourself you would give to that work. Your nights and weekends, your ability to talk about anything but the issues you've dedicated yourself to, and sometimes your sanity. You will throw yourself at a problem repeatedly until you believe that you finally hit a breakthrough, only to realize that it did not work out the way you thought it had, and be sent right back to square one. What you will leave with is likely not a six-figure salary or awards or even recognition. In fact, frequently you will not leave with anything at all. You will come into communities where you are not only told you have the ability to create change, but given the tools and empowered to do so. You will come into experiences that teach you about your own humanity and shape the way you approach not only your work, but your relationships with those around you and yourself. You will come into the things that terrify you and learn to feel comfortable leaning into seemingly insurmountable challenges, all with the knowledge that you are changing yourself and the world around you for the better. Let your dissatisfaction with the injustices around you fuel the work that you do. Your public health education is just one of the many steps you will take to disrupting complacency, envisioning a world with fewer disparities, and reshaping what it means to do things not for oneself, but for one's own. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna, for these thoughtful remarks. Now, let's welcome Dr. Joe Keating, Associate Dean for Public Health Undergraduate Education, who will introduce each member of the BSPH program class of 2018. Joe?
Will the graduates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Public Health please rise and come forward to receive your diploma? Emily Wells Acker. Tomris Ahmed Shah. Sama Ahmed. Claire Sykes Alexander. Haley Brooke Alexander. Alexis Ann Artman. Brian Walker Atkin. Sade Jamie Atkinson. Andrew Bedex Biko. Antonina Sarah Belzer. Jade Myrtle Burfect. Dominique Erica Bertuzzi. Ellis Elsbeth Bolding. Brittany Charnay Braddock. Catherine Blair Brents. Madeline Jane Brenner. Morgan Page Brown. Margaret Mary Burke. Caroline Kathleen Campbell. Grant Colbert. Corey Jill Cole. Hannah Sophia Craig. Lauren Marie Cronin. Ulia Daniels. Sohini Wilhelmina Diva. Lila Karazim Doblin. Catherine Grace Ernest. Pravina Krishnakumar Ferns. Nicole Elizabeth Flynn. Sarah Caitlin Fortin. Joe Lamar Foster. Allison Paige Frank. Erica Elizabeth Fuller. Johanna Lee Garvey. Sydney Nicole Gever. Macaulay Takashi Gibbons. Andrea Goodall. Lauren Jamie Grainer. Madison Emma Griffith. I'm sorry. William Thomas Grabel. Alexandra Rose Gruber. Samantha Bierman Grunin. Maggie Rose Heidepreen. Olivia May Hermanton. Jessica Elizabeth Hill. Sarah Ella Hill. Matthew Hu. Adam Newelbon Johnson. Caroline Gray Kalinsky. Anne Kathleen Kearney. Makia Iona Kidd. Grace Kathleen Kiernan. Madeline Sun Mi Kim. Kendall Beverly Knuth. Alexandra Carlene Lakota. Jennifer Grace Lamori. Kelly J. Lazarus. Samuel Ian Levin. Alexandra Sylvia Levy. Juliana Alexandra Hardesty Lewis. Emily McLean Mace. So for our next graduate, we're going to ask Dean McLaren to please deliver the diploma. Who's her father, if I didn't make that clear? Emily McLaren. Julia Reed Madden. Agatha Magerski. Abrania Denora Morera. Jack Calvert Martin. Gabriela Christine Martinez. Sarah Elizabeth McCaffrey. Maxwell Aaron McMahon. Imani Angelica Mitchell. Colby Brennan Morgan. Matinatsa Mugure. Hannah Claire Myers. Tiffany Yenshi Nguyen. Foster Noon. Hannah Davies Novak. Marlon Eduardo Nunez Sanchez. Christian Seraphin O'Connell. Jamie Brooke Palevsky. Alexandros Nicholas Felber Pavlakis. Benjamin Penkis. Henry Thomas Pronovost. Sheila Rachel Puglisi. Kayla Gabrielle Reisner. Natalie M. Rawl. Hannah Elizabeth Randolph. Emma Claire Rary. Sarah Rose Ray. Hanan Isam Ramawi. Elizabeth Hale Rodriguez. Carly Kirsten Royce. Joao Frederico Salter Cid. Eden B. Saltzman. Audrey Glenn Scanduro. Conrad Joseph Shapeberger. Alessandra Marin Schur. Caroline Elizabeth Scott. Caroline Seaman. Frances Marie Sinkowski. William Cokie Shipman. Alyssa Mara Singer. Jory Michelle Singer. Michaela Cry Slosar. Jordan Nathaniel Solomon. Amanda Lauren Spott. Rachel Claire Spring. Isabel Page Sussman. And Amika Tandon. Brennan Francis Torpe. Griffin Isaac Van. Isabel Olivia Walker. Courtney Yingyi Wong. Hella Lucy Watson. Shannon Kathleen Watson. Bradley M. Weinstein. Alec Jason Weiss. Haley Grace Yee. Alexandra Grace Young. Congratulations to the BSPH class of 2018.
Congratulations, and please, I will ask you to stand in a minute, but why did you sit first? Sit, please. Because I would like to thank everybody, especially thank the staff for a fantastic job today. So let's have a round of applause for the staff. And now I will try to give you precise instructions about how to exit this room in an orderly fashion. So first, listen, please. First, I will ask you to stand, but not now, in a minute, to welcome the Green MV back for the singing of the Alma Mater. And then following the Alma Mater, I will ask you to sit down again, because I need the aisles to be cleared. And then we'll have the recession, which will include, again, a second line. So if I follow these instructions correctly, now I have to ask you to stand, and I'm really glad to listen to Green Envy again. So please stand.
We praise thee for thy past, O Alma Mater. Thy hand hath done its work full faithfully. The incense of thy spirit hath ascended and filled America from sea to sea. Olive green and blue, we love thee. Pledge we now our fealty true. Where the trees are evergreenest, where the skies are purest blue, hear us now, O Tulane, hear us, as we proudly sing to thee. Take from us our heart's devotion, thine we are, and thine shall be.
Please sit down. Thank you. And now we will get back to the, it's the first time we're doing this in this hotel, and so I'm realizing that having multiple exits is not easy to manage. So we try to get organized, in the way we will finish this event by doing what we always do, to have the platform party and the faculty processing with us, following the pinstripe band. So I'm going to call again for the pinstripe band to come. Everybody will be seating. We're going to first the platform party, then the faculty, then everybody will follow and we will greet you out there. Okay? It's a deal. Okay, then pinstripe, please come back.
Thank you.